So she nodded and said aggrieved, "Well, 10,000 is 10,000. Mrs. Wilson cleared her throat and said solemnly, "I tell you, this time, we must let the Wilson Group regain its glory. We even want the Wilson Group to take another step, so you call me one by one. With the spirit of 12 points, no hedonistic thinking is allowed, otherwise, even if it is my son or grandson, they have to get out. Do you understand?" Noah, Harold, and Wendy knew in their hearts that the old lady said this to them. Although the hearts were depressed, everyone didn't dare to show any objection. They could only nod bitterly and said in unison, "We understand." Mrs. Wilson was satisfied with this and waved her hand. "Okay, hurry up and eat. We have to go to the company in the afternoon to continue working." Everyone had no choice but to bow their heads to eat honestly. At this moment, Wendy flipped through the WeChat moments, and suddenly saw the one sent by Elaine. Her face suddenly blew with anger. There was an uneasy feeling in her heart. Elaine's bitch has a bunch of Hermes. I want to buy one. Grandma didn't even agree and asked me to buy a fake one. If I really buy a fake Hermes, in case I meet Elaine, so I still have to let her die. Thinking of this, she became more and more angry in her heart. Elaine's old witch. Why use such an expensive thing? I am now youthful and naturally beautiful. Why can't even Elaine be as good? Thinking of this, she said aggrieved, "Grandma. Look. Even Elaine bitch has used real Hermes, why can't I use one real?" Mrs. Wilson snatched the phone from her, took a look, and said angrily, "Damn Elaine, I know it all day long." Noah also took the phone and looked at it and found that there was a picture of Elaine taking a selfie with her bag on her back. He said coldly, "This stinky lady's legs seem to have been plastered off. She's going to jump out." Harold's teeth tickled when he thought of Elaine, and hurriedly asked him, "Dad, didn't you say you want to punish her before? When do you do it? I have wanted to teach this DMN lady a long time ago." "Don't worry." Jacob snorted coldly. She broke her leg before and stayed at home all day long, so she couldn't rush into her house and fix her? Wouldn't we have to put us in? Since hers the cast has been removed from the leg, and she must be stumbling out. When the time comes, we will seize the opportunity and she must be treated well. Noah still hates Elaine very much. Because Elaine never put away the more than 20 green hats she hung on her terrace. Not only have they been hanging there, she has also successively bought a batch of new ones online, and now there are more than 30 in total. Noah goes in and out of Thompson first grade every day, passing through Charlie's house, so he will see them, more than 30 green hats fluttering in the wind, and every time he is angry enough to think of killing her. Moreover, thinking of Elaine's mockery of himself, he hated her even more. He always wanted to find a chance to tidy up Elaine, and by the way, he also added some blockage to Charlie's house to make Regnar as satisfied as possible. However, Elaine had a plaster on her leg, and she stayed at home most of the time. Even if he wanted to start. No chance. Now that Elaine's plaster has been removed, she must be able to come out very quickly because of her character. As long as she goes out frequently, he has a chance to deal with her. When she heard that Elaine was going to be cleaned up, Mrs. Wilson was also interested. She said in a cold voice, "This damn Elaine is jumping all day long. The last time she was in the detention center, she should have been taken care of more thoroughly." All the legs interrupted, to relieve the hate. Wendy hurriedly said, "Grandma, then we can find a chance to break her legs this time." "Yes, Grandma." Harold became excited immediately, and blurted out, "If you interrupt both her legs, I've long seen her not pleasing to my eyes." Mrs. Wilson looked at Noah and said, "Noah, Elaine has been insulting you and humiliating the entire Wilson family. You should really make a plan to show this bitch a little bit of color." Noah nodded repeatedly, "Mom. Don't worry. I will definitely not let this stinky lady go." After having lunch at home, Charlie called Mr. Orville to drive over and picked him up to the kennel. He plans to go to Japan tomorrow and quickly settle all matters concerning Kobayashi Pharmaceutical. To get Kobayashi Pharmaceutical, it is inseparable from the help of brothers Ichiro and Jiro. In Mr. Orville's car, Charlie asked him, "How are Ichiro and Jiro's performance at the kennel recently?" Mr. Orville chuckled. "Master, these two brothers performed well in the kennel. They worked hard and don't dare to pretend to be forceful everywhere. They are working honestly like quail, but they couldn't meet. Two dogs with grudges are the same, and they have to be pinched as soon as they meet. I now assign the two to different areas and try to avoid their meeting." Charlie nodded lightly. There was naturally a deep hatred between Ichiro and Jiro. Especially Ichiro, he was scammed by Charlie, and even his father was poisoned to death by him. It was already miserable enough. He didn't expect that his younger brother would fall into trouble and gave him one. For the crime of poisoning his biological father, he also spent a lot of money to offer a reward for his head. It can be said that he would never forgive Jiro until he died. In fact, Jiro hates his own brother. Because Charlie had already made it very clear last time, only one of the two brothers could go back to Japan with him, and the other person had to stay in the kennel and work for a lifetime. And Charlie himself tends to take his brother Ichiro home, so he hopes that his brother will have some accident every day. It is best to die suddenly. In that case, he will become the only candidate for Charlie.